Hello, good morning. We are getting ready to go to work, to go into the office today. This week, I'm actually going to be going into the office every day this week because we have some things happening at work where we have people from out of town coming in. So I might just get on live every day this week just to hang out with you guys before I start my day. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about rejection. I think this is such a sore topic for all of us. No one likes to talk about rejection. No one likes to be rejected. Hold on a second. No one likes to be rejected. No one likes to be on that side of the table, right? But today I want to talk about when we're rejected for work, for jobs, for that promotion, for that class. So many different reasons. You currently maybe are going through rejections right now. Maybe you're applying to multiple jobs and none of them are working out for you. We're going to talk about all of that, how rejection is very real. It is normal. It is part of life. It is part of the process. It is part of the growing process at that. And it's not rejection, it's just redirection. And also less, because you can definitely learn a lot from rejection. Now, we may not in the moment want to see it for what it's for, but we definitely learn a lot. I will share with you a recent story of mine where I was rejected in the job market. So I had quit my job last year, my corporate 6-figure job last year, around this time, thinking that I was going to go full-time on my own, full-time entrepreneur. I was going to quit my job, and all of a sudden the floodgates would open up and I would get so many clients, so much business that I was going to be overflowing. Now, I did get clients and I did gain business, but it wasn't to the point that I was expecting. So that was for me a lesson learned where I said I need to slow down and I need to wait to hear from God. I can't just do things on my own. I need to ask for guidance and direction, which I had not. I just quit my job and just kind of did my own thing. Well, I was unemployed for about 6 months when I decided, you know what, this full-time entrepreneurship is not working out for me. Would I love to become a full-time entrepreneur in the future? Absolutely. I still think it's something that my heart desires. So that's not something that I'm going to give up that easily. But when I quit and I decided to get back into the workplace, I started applying to multiple jobs. I started letting my network know that I was in the job market, if they knew of any HR director roles or any roles that were in line with my experience, my skill set, and also the pay range that I was looking for, if they could keep me in mind. So I had a friend, a childhood friend of mine who works in HR. They work within the government. And he said to me, Nada, we have an open position for an HR role. I think you'll be great for it. Why don't you apply? And, we'll see how it goes. Now, if you've ever applied to government jobs, you know that they are very, very strict. Like, you can't just apply with just any old resume. You got to be very specific, very thorough. And even as you go through the application process, you cannot be lazy with your answers. You have to be very thorough. You have to really think through your answers, because that's how you get rated when your resume, your application is being reviewed by a recruiter on the government side of things. So I took a few days to really prep my answers to make sure that my resume, my application really stood out. Thankfully, it did. It got me an interview. So I met with the hiring managers, which was the direct supervisor of the role, and then also the person who was overseeing. She's like the chief of something, a chief of HR. I'm interviewing with them, going through multiple rounds of interviews, and I'm feeling great. It seems like we're vibing. And although we only met virtually, but we were vibing, we were laughing. They were asking me questions. I was asking them questions, and it just felt felt very natural. It just felt very good. And I just felt like, okay, I could definitely see myself with this team. I love the leadership so far. And there were women of color. I love it. I love to see that. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get the job, especially my friend works directly with them. I'm thinking, that's right there going to be almost an automatic. Well, I was wrong. I did not get the job. And I was disappointed because I really thought that I was going to get it. And I was just like, man, like, what did I do? And the chief actually called me directly and said, hey, Nada, look, you were great. We really enjoyed your interview, your conversation. We really learned a lot about you and what you can bring to the team. And we believe your skill sets really could be an asset to the team. However, there was someone else that just had a little bit more to give than what you did. So that was really the reason. But like personality and skills and all that, like definitely for sure, we could see you being part of our government, the government team. So I was like, all right, well, I totally understand. That was disappointing for me. That was a rejection because I just knew I was going to get the job. So I'm pretty sure that you in your job search have faced something like that, where you have applied to a job and you felt like your interview with the recruiter just went great. You guys were vibing with the hiring manager. Things are looking good. But what happened? They went ghost. I didn't get the job. They offered the job to someone else. So that really puts you down. That'll put anybody down, So that's the thing about rejection. But I could have let the rejection, that's the thing about rejection. But I could have let the rejection, that's the thing about rejection, but I could have let the rejection, I could only have something to offer. And I know that I do. I know that I have something to offer. That's not my issue. But my issue is, can I get the job? As much as I am an HR pro, I'm a career coach, and I'm always here to root for you and share the tips and tricks and advice and everything, I still cannot guarantee you a job. I can give you the full manual, the full handbook, but even if you use all and you implement everything that I share with you, it still doesn't guarantee that you'll get the job. So use my own tricks, my own tips, my own advice into my job search, and I didn't get the job. So what does that tell you? That it's just not a guarantee. This is how life goes. You're not always going to get it your way. You're not always going to get the job that you want, and it's okay. But what do you learn from that experience? So what I ended up learning from that experience was patience, trust in God's timing, trust in God's plan, because there is a plan for me. I just don't know it yet. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's going to be a job that'll come up for me. And almost immediately, maybe about like a week or two after that interview, this happened like February, maybe just a few weeks after that, then I get reached out by a recruiter who says, Nada, I am interested in you for our role here. It's a new position. I'd love to talk to you. Spoke with the recruiter, and then she really enjoyed the conversation, and she said, I'm going to pass your information on to the hiring manager ASAP, which she did. Met with the hiring manager, in the hiring team, and then eventually got the job. So that just goes to show you that sometimes what you think is for you, it's really not for you. It's just the redirection. It's to prepare you for whatever is to come that is for you. So if I would have really just put myself down because I didn't get the original job, the government job that I wanted, if I really would have told myself, oh my gosh, you know what, whatever, I'm going to quit this job search. I can't keep looking. I can't keep applying, blah, blah, blah. If I would have put myself down, I wouldn't have opened myself the door up for this other opportunity that was a great opportunity, and it's closer to home, so I don't have to travel far. I don't have to pay for parking. I definitely have the flexibility of working from home, and it's way, way better than I imagined. And so I have no complaints about my new job. So it just goes to show you, and it goes to show me that yes, what we want sometimes isn't necessarily what is in our plans, and that is okay. That is why rejection is redirection. All right. And we all face rejection. We face rejection if you're dating. We face rejection when you're job hunting. We face rejection in so many different ways. If you're applying to credit cards, looking for a car, for a house, an apartment, like there's so many reasons, there's so many ways on how we can get rejected. But it's all about how you handle the rejection. What are you going to do to improve that? If it's your credit, are you going to fix your credit? How are you going to fix your credit? Do you need to speak to a financial advisor? Do you need to speak to, a bankruptcy lawyer? Do you need to speak to, a credit repair person? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are the things that you're going to do? That's just how life is. Rejection is inevitable. Like, you're going to get rejected in life. And that's one thing that we have to understand. And social media really makes it seem like these people live the ultra fancy, super lucky, super blessed life, in which they may, but you don't know what that person, the rejection, the amount of rejection and all that person has gone through, or what they're going through behind the scenes. Social media only shows you all the good, the pretty, the beautiful. They don't show you exactly the moments where they're crying because how are you going to pay for your bills? How are you going to put food on the table? How are you going to pay for your child's care? How are you going to take care of that ill parent? How are you going to pay these medical bills? So that's one thing about social media that I will say, that it's very deceiving. But I just want to remind you that we're all humans. And once this camera shuts off, it's reality. It's real life. We all got to go back to our normal lives. And rejection is part of that. And I think we might even get rejection on a daily. Like, I might present an idea to my boss and she'll say, no, I don't think we need to go with that. Maybe we should do this. That's a form of rejection. How do you handle that? How do you handle when someone doesn't agree with you? You're not always going to have people agreeing with you. Sometimes you're going to have people that, you're going to have to go back and forth. You're going to have to defend your stance and why you believe in what you believe in, and they believe in what they believe in. And you might have to just agree to disagree. That's just part of how life goes. But you also want to keep in mind that although you may feel emotional about the rejection, it's okay to feel that emotion. Listen, when I got rejected for that government job, I was emotional. I was like, dang it. Like, I just knew I had the job. I remember calling my best friend and was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad. I really wanted that job and I don't know what happened. Like, we had a really great conversation. I thought we, seemed to be a good match, a good fit. The team seemed to love me. And, I could really see myself working with the leaders of that team. I don't know what. I had to remind myself, in which my best friend is always very good at that. Like, don't worry, God's got a plan. There's something better for you. Just hang in there. Just try to stay positive and try to, and mind you, I had already been 6 months without a job, without full income. I was getting some sort of income because I was picking up contracting jobs, but contracting is not always going to be guaranteed, and it's not going to be always enough to cover for your bills. Although, yes, I have a partner and yes, he pays the bills, but that it's something about making your own money. Like, I rather make my own money. So that's where I was at. And then I'm just thinking, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then, yes, finally, the job that was meant for me finally came up, right? And that's when I realized I just needed trust and believe in God that he was going to make it happen for me. How? I don't know. When? I don't know. What? I don't know. But when it happened, I was like, oof, yes. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I finally got a job. So I understand how you may feel frustrated when the job that you wanted, you don't get it. It doesn't go your way. But also remember that there are famous people that also go through that too. I'm pretty sure you have heard of Oprah, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and just all these different people that are millionaires, billionaires. And these are all people that have gone through some form, some sort of rejection before they got to where they're at today. And yeah, their success success seems like, wow, they just got there overnight. But you don't know how many nights they cried, how many times they were stressed out, how many times people probably told them just quit and just go to something that's stable and just go to something that's comfortable and just go to something that's solid and guaranteed. But they still believed in themselves and said, no, that's not what I want. And that's not what I'm doing. So it happens all the time. And now Oprah can tell you the story better than I can. But from what I know about her story of rejection was that she was a reporter, right? And she got fired from her job. And then it was kind of like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? But then what ended up happening with her rejection was a pivotal moment. Because in Oprah, her career, she figured, okay, you know what? I have different strengths that I could use, that I have, that maybe they just weren't being used well, leveraged in my reporter role. And although I love being a reporter, maybe I should really hone in on my skills and do something that I really love, that I enjoy. And then that's how she created the daytime talk show, which the first one was People Are Talking. And that's where she was able to really show herself, who she was, and her showcase her empathy, and then her ability to connect with people. And then it eventually really led into something else where it became the Oprah Winfrey Show. And as we know today, like, that's one of the most successful daytime talk shows in television history. So if Oprah would have allowed that rejection of her job, that being fired, like, no one wants to be fired. I've never been fired. Thank God. God forbid that I ever do. If I ever do get fired from my job, I hope that I can turn that rejection into redirection. And instead, I might have to take a moment to cry and sulk in it and be a little depressed and be a little sad. And I might have to vent, and I might have to talk it out with my best friend. And I might have to take a moment to do that. But what I do know is that I'm going to snap out of it, and I'm just going to keep it moving. Because that's exactly what Oprah did. And now Oprah is a billionaire. Like, you listen, if I get rejected like Oprah did and then eventually become a billionaire, oh, I'm taking that route. I'm doing that. Like, reject me all day, every day, because I want to go that route. That's what I'm saying. It seems easy, and it seems like, oh, it's nothing. Oh, Oprah's a millionaire, she's a billionaire, she's got all this money. Yeah, but she struggled. She also worked hard to get there. So that's her story of resilience, of rejection. And that's why I have to remind myself and remind you that you're gonna go through those moments of rejection, and it is totally okay. Feel bad for going through that. Now, another story that I'm gonna share with you is a personal story where my son, I have a 20-year-old son. He graduated 2 years ago from high school. He was trying to figure out his life like any young, as fresh out of high school student does, a graduate. He was trying to figure his life out. So he said, you know what, Mom? I'm not gonna go to college. I'm gonna work, and I wanna just focus and think about like exactly what I wanna do. And I said, okay, you know what? I totally understand. I agree, because I didn't get my college degree until I was 30. So I wasn't going to sit here and try to judge him and try to force him to do something that he didn't want to do, that he didn't feel in his heart that he should do. So I said, totally fine, son. You know, just make sure that you at least do something. You either got to go to school or you got to work. In this house, you are not going to be up in here just living for free or doing nothing productive with your. So he ended up getting a job at UPS. One of his friends gave him a job there, or helped him to get a job. And he just worked in the warehouse, where it was, you know, the warehouse at UPS is a lot of stocking and, you know, it's the organizing of the package, the sorting and things like that. So that's exactly what he was doing. He worked on the conveyor belt where the trucks would come in, and then all he was doing was just kind of scanning the packages and all that. So UPS ended up laying him off this year around like April time. My son is like, Mom, I don't know what to do. You know, I got laid off. I'm sad. You know, I don't have a backup plan. I don't have anything. And I said to him, son, don't worry. You know, we are going to make sure we're going to trust in God. We're going to believe in God. And we know that God is going to have your back. It's going to work out for you. Don't worry. Okay, so what ends up happening is we're talking and I'm like, what are you going to do for during the time being that you're off? Because you got to look for a job. You got to figure out what you're going to do next. And he said, you know what, Mom, I'm not an office person. I understand that. I like working with my hands. So I'm thinking about going to trade school. Now, mind you, we need electricians, we need plumbers, we need HVAC guys, we need all of those. Those trades are not going anywhere. It is never going to take over those jobs. Those are definitely stable jobs, and you can definitely make those into a career. So I said to him, all right, we can definitely do that. And that's definitely a good thing to have, good knowledge to have, because I have worked in the real estate industry and I've seen how those guys, those engineers, those maintenance guys, how they know their stuff. They work their 9 to 5, but then they have side jobs, side gigs. I mean, you could really make good money with that. You could become a contractor. You can do so much within that line of work in trades. So when he told me that that's what he wanted to do, he told me that he wanted to enroll into Lincoln Tech, which is a trade school. We have one close to where we live. And I said, you know what? No, I know of a free program that is offered through MMHA. MMHA is the Maryland Multi-Housing Association. They are based out of the Baltimore area, and they offer an, 8 weeks worth of free classroom trades training. So it's a fast track in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, all of that. And then your third month with them, you are working an externship. So you're getting paid, you're working at a company. The goal is we're going to train you, teach you for these 2 months in the classroom so you can have the basic foundation and understanding of trades. But eventually the goal is we're going to help you to get a job, and we're going to use partner companies. So I said to him, I'm connected in the industry. I'm going to talk to my friend and we're going to get you into that program because it's still an application process and all of that. So I called my friend and she's like, yeah, definitely. Let's get your son in there. Fast forward to it. My son completed his 2 months of the classroom training and he just started his first day of his new job yesterday. So now he is developing his career in maintenance, in trades, in the engineering world. What I reminded him the other day, I said, you see, it was a blessing that you got laid off from UPS. And yes, in the moment, it seemed like, what am I going to do? I still have all these things. And we said to him, don't worry, we're going to help you with bills. We're going to help you with whatever it is that we need to do to help you out. Because we're a family up in here and we're a team. And we're going to make sure we're all straight. So I said to him the other day, you see, it was actually a blessing that you got laid off from UPS, because if you would have still been working at UPS, you would have never quit to go to this program, because you're not going to be getting paid for it. The program is free, but you're not getting paid for your time. Really, you're sacrificing those 2 months, not getting paid, not making any money, having no income unless you've got savings. But a lot of people can't really do that. It's a lot, the reality is it's a lot. He was just very grateful and thankful. He was just telling me, yeah, Mom, I'm so glad that happened. Now I'm glad because now I can really start into a career that I know is going to be long lasting and something that I know that is going to be worth it and it's going to be valuable. So that's another example that I can share with you of where rejection is redirection. So don't ever feel you're never going to go through rejection, because we all do. But in the moment of when you're going through that rejection, try to look at it on the bright side of things. This is happening to me for what? What is the reason? What is going to be the outcome? What am I going to learn from it? If my son would have took that time when he got laid off and just went into depression and just slept all day and just said, you know what, forget it. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to, then he probably wouldn't be where he's at today. He wouldn't have started his new job and he wouldn't have been started into the career field that he actually really wanted to do. So that's what I'm saying. Remind yourself that rejection is redirection. So those are the examples that I wanted to share with you when it comes to rejection and how it can be redirection. So if you are going right now through a season of rejection, remind yourself that this is only redirection. into something better. And listen, I know that in the moment it's hard to think like that. I know that in the moment when you're going through the rejection, I know that it's hard to really think positive and to think, oh yeah, it's all gonna work out. It's all great and dandy. I get it. But it's true. It will work out. Just stay positive, stay focused, stay persistent. You're going to have to be resilient to these things because rejection is inevitable. Like there's nothing that you can do to stop rejection. But it's about how you handle the rejection. It's about how you control yourself during the rejection that's going to be important. That's going to be important. How do you handle the rejection? So you want to always keep that mindset. Shift your mind to reminding yourself, to believing yourself that, you know what, I may not qualify for that house yet, but I will. I may not get that credit card, that line of credit that I wanted right now, but I will. That's all you got to do is just keep reminding yourself of these things because that's just part of... That's just part of rejection. That's just part of how things go. If you allow yourself to get all worked up because you got rejected or whatnot, trust me, you're going to burn yourself out. You're gonna literally just put yourself down and nobody else has to do it. And we're not about to do that. We are not those kind of people. We are the kind of people that we know we deserve greatness, we're destined for greatness, and all of that. So I remind myself, anytime that I go through some form of rejection, I look at these celebrities. I'm like, I know they've gone through rejection after rejection after rejection. They have gone through so many closed doors, so many. But when you see them today, they seem so successful and so well put together that then you're just like, oh my gosh, but I want to be like them. But how resilient are you towards rejection? How open-minded are you when you get rejected? Do you crumble? Do you learn lessons from it? You know, that's what you gotta think about, and that's how you gotta remind yourself. Like, what do you do? Check yourself. What do you do when you get rejected? Because I tell you one thing, when I get rejected, the first thing that I do is, depending on the type of rejection, right? So if it's a job rejection, I get bummed. I'm like, man, okay, well, I might vent. I'll vent to my man, to my best friend, and just be like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I didn't get the job, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm just going on and on and on, rambling and all that. But then I think about it and I'm just like, you know what? There's something better for me. There's a reason why I went through the rejection, and I'm not going to be mad at it. I'm not going to be mad at those people that rejected me. I'm not going to be mad at the company. I'm not going to be mad at the recruiter. I'm not going to be mad to any of them because you know what? There's something better for me. At least I know that my resume is attracting people, and at least I know that I'm having conversations with people. I would feel worse if I wasn't having no type of conversations with people. Then I think that I would feel like, what the heck am I doing wrong? What's happening? What am I not doing right? Right? But that's how I handle rejection. I try to remain positive. I try to think of it as just an experience, a learning lesson. And I try to think of it as like something better is coming. That's all I know. Something better is coming. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what God's got in plan for me, but it's coming. I can feel it. I can see it. So think about it. Ask yourself, how do you handle rejection? How do you handle it? Think about all these celebrities, these famous people, how they handle their rejection. A great way when you're going through rejection is leveraging your network. Leverage your network. And I've leveraged my network, and although it didn't work out for me initially because I really wanted that government job with my friends, it didn't work out for me. But I still, because I told my network that I was the job market, they helped me to put me in those positions of interviewing. And if it wasn't for them, I probably would have, been feeling way down because we all know this job market right now is tough. This job market, it is rough. I have not seen the job market like this in my 14 years of my career in HR. this is the first time that I've seen the job market so tough right now for job applicants. Although I don't recruit anymore, I did it for a long time. I don't necessarily recruit. I'm doing other stuff in HR, but it's one of those things that right now it is very sad to see, because a lot of people are losing jobs. A lot of people are getting laid off. On LinkedIn almost every day I see a post from someone saying, my job just laid me off, my company just laid me off. And let me tell you, I give props to those people who put it out there and say, I worked with a great company, thank you so much, I enjoyed my experience, because I'm like, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could, after getting laid off by this company, I don't think I can go on a public platform and thank them for the time that we spent together. Because now I'm looking at you sideways, like, you couldn't afford me, but you could afford all these millions and billions of dollars spending on other stuff within the company, but you couldn't afford me. You couldn't afford to keep your talent, especially when you are an overperformer, overachiever, when you are one of those exceptional employees, right? It's like, you really had to do that? I can't believe you did that. So many people are getting laid off, and those people have been having a hard time to find a job. I've known of people who were laid off and were laid off 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years. 2 years of unemployment. Like, that is just crazy to me. But I also have to tell companies that are hiring is that they're being too strict. They're being too strict, given managers have always, for many, many years, always wanted like a unicorn. They always want you to find a needle in a haystack. They want this specific person in their minds for this role. And as a recruiter, it's hard to give you that. It's hard to really just pull this person up out of nowhere. But hiring managers have always made it difficult for recruiters. But in today's age, I'm like, you guys need to be a little bit more open to training people for build up their skill set. I think that that's what is lacking and what's missing with companies right now is that they want people to come in fully equipped, fully ready with all the knowledge and everything, and just to help them perform miracles. When sometimes you need to be realistic and just help somebody learn and gain the knowledge and the skills. A lot of times, those are going to be your best hires. The best company hires are the people that are willing to learn, that are willing to grow, that are trainable, that are coachable, that are open-minded, that are like a sponge. Those are the best company hires, because those people come with fresh perspective, new thoughts, new ideas, and the willingness to learn. This is maybe a new industry, a new job, new role, new responsibilities, new everything for them. And now they come in with a different mentality versus someone who's been doing it for so long, where they come already with the mentality of, this is how I've always done it, this is how it works, and I'm not going to change. Someone who is just stubborn in their ways. Someone with different habits, different things that they bring. So for me, I have always advocated for someone who seems to be open to learn, depending on the role, of course. Now, if it's like a senior level position where you need to have the experience, obviously you can't go for just anybody new and green. But if it's like entry level, even mid-level, yeah, you can totally do it. You can totally hire someone based off of personality, and then based off of, their willingness to learn and to grow, and help them achieve that. You can totally do that. But this job market today is rough, y'all. It is rough. It is rough. I know, because I experienced it myself a few months ago, where I was saying that I was unemployed for 6 months. And it was one of those things that it was rough. It was tough. And although I've got 14 years of HR experience, I was getting rejected. So that goes to show you that even us, the people with the experience, even us that are qualified, have the skill set, we get rejected too. goes to show. But that's my TED Talk for today. I hope that you gained something out of it. I hope that you learned. I hope that you take my experience, my tips, my advice, and everything. And I hope that you remind yourself, you implement it in your own life. I will see you guys later. Don't forget to follow, like, all that good stuff. Share this with your friends, family, someone who maybe needs these words of encouragement. I don't know who needs to hear it, but pass it along, pass the message along. We can all be help to each other. Follow me because I like to talk about everything HR related. I talk to employers, how they need to act as employers, how they need to treat employees. I talk to employees, how you can develop and grow in your career. And then I also talk to job seekers because when you're job hunting, you need words of encouragement. You need to learn from a recruiter, someone who really is the subject matter expert. So follow me if you want to hear about all that good stuff because I will share that with you. And I like to share information in a very casual way where you can understand it. I don't speak with all this corporate jargon. Of course, sometimes I may have to use it, but I like to just talk to you like if I'm talking to one of my girlfriends and we're just having a casual, candid conversation amongst us girls. So if you like to have and listen to those type of conversations, hit me up. All right, you guys, I gotta get ready because I gotta hit the road soon for work. See y'all later.